Good evening and welcome into the Capitol Center. Tonight, Wilmington in town to take on the Comets. Jimmy Bloomfield and Jonathan Brown with you tonight as always, and going to be an interesting one here as Capitol. Last time we had a game here last weekend, riding high, getting a win over our rivals in Otterbein, a very tough-fought game. And Capitol was sitting third place, sitting pretty in the conference standings, and then a bad road trip, 0-2 on the week for the Comets, and all of a sudden, right back into that middle of the conference, Jonathan.
Yeah, two tough losses coming on the road for Capital. First one against John Carroll and Muskegon. And a close one against Muskegon, one that you're guaranteed to get a win against one of these teams, and I guess that really shows you're in the OAC. It can go either way here.
Yeah, Muskegon's going on a little bit of a run here now, 4-8 in conference play, and actually one game out of the playoff. Is it 6 teams or 8? It's a 16 playoff. So you have Muskegon there at 4-8 in that 8 spot right now, and Capital I mentioned 6-6 now. John Carroll's also 6-6. And it sets up a big matchup here with Wilmington at 5-7. A win for Wilmington would pull them level with Capital in the records. Head-to-head would be a split then, so it would come down to who has the best win. The tiebreaker is very interesting in the OAC. If it's a split head-to-head, it goes to your record against the top team, record against the second team, and you keep going. So the thing in Capital's favor there, if they split some of these head-to-headers, they do have the win against Marietta, who's likely to finish top 3. At the very least, probably top 4 in the conference. So that win really helps them for tiebreakers if we get to that point, especially against a team like Otterbein. They have the tiebreaker over Otterbein. They have the tiebreaker over Wilmington no matter what happens here tonight. I believe they split with John Carroll as well. And so this standings, to give you the full picture, Ohio Northern's 11-1, Baldwin Wallace 10-2. Those two are clearly the top 2 teams in this conference. Both are nationally ranked, and Ohio Northern's loss is to Baldwin Wallace, I believe. So those 2 teams are probably going to be your 1-2. The road to winning this conference is through one of those 2 teams, probably through both of them, which sets up that kind of 3-4 seed that you're looking to have at least get your home game in the semifinal of the tournament, and then you're going to have 2 road games pretty much at Baldwin Wallace, at Ohio Northern, to try to win this conference. If you put yourself in that 5th or 6th spot, now you're looking at road trips the whole week, and it just makes it that much harder just to get to that point to play one of those top 2 teams, let alone beat them twice.
Yeah, Capital schedule looking forward, this is one of those that they just have to handle their business here today, because the next schedule for the rest of the season is not going to be easy, and knowing that conference play and home field advantage is in play, that is going to be a huge factor, because if they can jump into the number 4 seed and get that home court to start off in the tournament, that is going to be a benefactor in their best way. But if they continue on this slippery slope here, we've seen that this team is capable to handle business, but some days they come out slow and they play down to their competition, and it doesn't come out in their favor.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, they've handled their job here at home, at least, with the exception being that loss to Mount Union. But talk about 2 different weeks, really. Last week, 2 huge home wins against Marietta and Otterbein, 2 teams ahead of them in the standings while we were in 5th place. We knock off both of them, get huge tiebreakers, and we go into what is seemingly a pretty light week at Muskingum, at John Carroll, lose both games. And now a 3-game homestand, and this is a big opportunity. You look at the 3 opponents. You have Wilmington, Ohio Northern, and Heidelberg. So you've got, 2 of the lower half of the conference, and then Ohio Northern on Saturday. That's going to be a big one. That's going to be a real fun one as well. But you're looking at this stretch, you got to go 2-1 at the very least. So if you lose tonight, that means you got to beat Ohio Northern on Saturday to really have a successful stretch here. They'll go at Mount Union, at Marietta, the week of the 11th, and then finish off with senior night here on the 18th against Baldwin Wallace. So while they have 4 home games in the last 6, 2 of them are against Ohio Northern and Baldwin Wallace, the top 2 teams in the conference. And the rest are just kind of these middle-ish teams. You have Marietta on there as well, who's the number 3 seed right now. So you got the top 3 seeds and then some middle-ish teams, if not bottom teams. You got to look at this schedule and see at the very minimum a 3-3 finish for this team. That would put them, I believe they're at 500 right now. Got to get
they're
to
6-6. Yeah.
So that'd put you at 9-9 safely in the playoffs. But is that enough to get a top 4 seed? It's going to be close.
I mean, they got this, like you said, the tiebreaker with Otterbein, so you know, you want to try to finish out as best as you can here. But going back, looking at those games that they lost on the road here, in a close one to Muskegon, 60-63, your 3 best players all finished with double-digit figures, and you lose by 3 points here. So then you're like, okay, we're not getting any help from the bench. And to look at it, they did not. They're in that matchup. O'Connor finished with 24, Murphy with 14, Perkins with 13, and the next 2 scorers, and the only other scorers for Capital was Brewer and Weiland with 6 and 3 points. And then you go take a look at how they finished against John Carroll. Your leading scorer was Murphy, Weiland, and Perkins with 14, 8, and 7, and still no help from anybody else coming off the bench. And I know Coach McPherson, she runs a tight rotation, but even with that, when you are called off the bench and you know what your role is, I feel like we're in the season at this point. You should know what your role is, and the only way to thrive here as a team is if everybody plays their role to a T.
Big difference tonight. Allie Ray is back. We saw her getting some minutes in the rotation earlier this season. She's a transfer out of New Mexico Highlands, a sophomore out of Toledo, Ohio. She is available, and another roster change, if you want to call it that, for Capital. Nicole Flock no longer with the program. So you would see Flock doesn't have that many minutes as she's been getting, but we've seen her in the rotation. You mentioned a very tight rotation. We're about 7 or 8 deep right now. Usually gets to that point here at this point of the season. But Allie Ray is going to be kind of working her way back into the rotation. We saw the success that Bree O'Connor has had as a transfer. Maybe there's an X factor off the bench there with Allie Ray coming back. But as you said, Jonathan, someone's got to step up and help these. We've been calling them the big 3. That's kind of the basketball term, I guess. It's kind of a lazy way to call it that, but with Perkins, Murphy, and O'Connor. But they've been struggling too. O'Connor's been extremely inefficient from the field. She's gotten there at the end. If you kind of look at the stats and don't look too much into it, it looks like she's hanging in there doing okay. But efficiency-wise, not doing well. We've seen Laney really struggle at points this season. Started to find it in that Otterbein game for sure. It took her a lot of shots in that Otterbein game to get there. She put up 12 in the first matchup against Wilmington as well. So you're counting on her for her contribution as that kind of second scorer. But you look at her 3-point percentage this year, she's down to 35% at this point. Bree is shooting 28% from 3. That's not getting it done. And just overall field goal percentage, Murphy's shooting 32% from the field total. That's not a 3-point percentage, that's total. Bree's a little bit better at 41%, but just extremely inefficient offense from Capital lately. And you couple into that taking care of the basketball. That was kind of the big problem again this week, and it's kind of been an up and down thing for this team. So you look at tonight, and what's the number one focus you think for this offense to really show that we've got it cleaned up and are back in the right direction here?
I feel like it's just more of a cohesive unit here. Because we're so deep in the season already, you already know who the key players on this team are. You know, we don't have to keep reiterating it, but like you said, we kind of already ponded on who our big 3 is for Capital. However, it's everybody else outside of those 3. We know that who's going to be able to put shots up for the team here, and they're always going to have their hands on the ball to put shots up. However, it's counting on those other players who you tend not to see putting shots up or getting more turnovers on the defensive end. Like we said, we know Weiland is a good defensive key player. And I forgot, is he close to getting to that block record?
Yeah, we're getting there. We still got a lot of games left, but she needs about 2 or 3 a game, I think. We'll get you the full number, but I believe she's about 16 or so short.
Oh, wow, okay.
But she's there. She's in the conversation.
I mean, like, she understands what her role is, but I recall in the last home game that we had here against Otterbein, when she fouled out, Coach McPherson struggled. She didn't know who to put into that game.
Yep.
Speculation was she asked the ref, can we play with 4 players? And so that really just shows you that some people on the bench aren't playing their roles. And so we're this deep in the season. If you haven't figured out your role yet, look in the mirror and hopefully they can figure it out today.
We've got a little bit of time here before the national anthem, so we'll cut away for that and then come back with our starters for tonight's game and preview Wilmington a little bit here. It's an interesting starting lineup for them. 3 seniors, 2 freshmen, some young and some old there in the veteran experience, we'll call it, instead of old, in that lineup. So it's a very interesting group and a very interesting matchup with Capital, as it usually is. This is usually one of the more fun games on the schedule between Wilmington and Capital, and we're excited to bring it to you here in just a minute here. We'll be right back after our national anthem. Okay, welcome back to the Capitol Center. Let's get to tonight's starting lineups. First of the visiting Wilmington Quakers, led by head coach Janelle Blankenspor. In her 3rd year, she sends out a trio of seniors. First, the 5'3" guard out of Dayton, Ohio, Kennedy Lewis. The 5'3" senior guard out of Fairfield, Ohio, Z. Bailey. And the 5'5" senior out of Washington Courthouse, Ohio, Cassidy Lovett. They're joined by 2 freshman forwards, Jada Pullen out of Fairfield, Ohio, and Marissa Seiler out of Wauseon, Ohio. So again, it's Lewis, Bailey, Lovett, Pullen, and Seiler. For the Comets, it's the usual crew. In the backcourt, starting point guard, 5'4" senior out of Plain City, Ohio, Demi Brewer. And at the 2 guard, the 5'8" sophomore guard out of Fredericksburg, Ohio, Laney Murphy. Bree O'Connor gets the start, the 5'8" sophomore guard out of Hilliard, Ohio, the Tiffin College transfer. And in the front court, 6' sophomore out of Beaver, PA, Maddie Weiland, and the 5'9" freshman out of Pittsburgh, PA, Samari Perkins. And that is the starting 5 for head coach Camille McPherson in her first official year as the head coach. She took over as the interim last year, and assisted by Skylar Fenimore, Jason Wright, and Maggie Wright. Again, it's Murphy, Brewer, O'Connor, Weiland, and Samari Perkins.
Hopefully this should be a good one here, a bounce-back game for Capital. The Quakers are coming off of a victory of their own. They won against Heidelberg.
Heidelberg snapping a 3-game losing streak as well, so we'll see if they can carry that momentum into this one. The opening tip is going to go the way of the Quakers, wearing the green uniforms, moving from left to right. Capital in the home white uniforms in this one. And we are underway with Kennedy Lewis dropping it off to Poland. Poland looked like she might have walked there, gets to the basket and scores. And it's a 2-0 lead for Wilmington after 1 possession.
Wonder who's going to get the first basket here for Capital.
See if they go right to O'Connor. They do. O'Connor under the basket, facing up, and tried to throw it to the top of the key. Bad pass taken away by Jada Poland. She Euro hops again to the basket, no good. And O'Connor comes away with the rebound this time. high tempo, and that's usually expected when we play against this Wilmington team.
So Capital won the matchup last time they played. Now on their home court, we'll see if they can take the 2-0.
Struggling already. Another takeaway here, given right to Z Bailey. Bailey played a lot as a freshman as well. She's been in the starting lineup, I think, all 4 years here at Wilmington. Takes the three here, no good. Perkins taps it around. Rebound collected by Lovett instead. Lovett now passes off. Into the corner it goes to Lewis. 15 to shoot after the brief reset. Lovett has it again. Drives to the free throw line, kick out. Top of the key, Lewis. Lewis to Bailey down low, gives it off. A shot right at the buzzer by Seiler's good. So the two freshmen have each gotten a basket. And it's an interesting mix. You've got two freshman bigs and three senior wings. And these guards are slashing kind of guards. They're not the typical shooters that you see these days. They like to hit to the basket. Kind of that Tyreek Evans style of game from this Wilmington offense.
Yeah, that was just good ball moving around, not forcing any shot here. And that's tends to be if I'm a opposing team like Wilmington, when you're watching Capital, you know who their primary scorers are. So when you lock them up.
Bailey with the takeaway and scores in transition. That's 3 turnovers in the first 3 possessions there for Capital.
Sloppy game.
And they find themselves down 6-0, 2 minutes in already. Perkins whips it at O'Connor. O'Connor on the left wing, top of the key, fakes the shot, bounce pass. That's 4 turnovers in a row to start the night for the Comets. Lovett lost possession and gives it up.
Yeah, Butterfingers that time, but already with 4 turnovers to start this game off, that is not what Capital expected here. We talked about how they are always their worst enemy at times, and as a team that averages a lot of turnovers, hopefully they can figure out how to handle it. They average about 17 per game.
That is 9th in the OAC out of 10 in terms of most turnovers. And actually the team we're playing tonight here, Wilmington, leads the conference in terms of that, having the least amount of turnovers, 13.3 turnovers per game for them. So taking care of the basketball is a huge emphasis tonight as O'Connor makes the first free throw and gets Capital on the board.
Able to get that first one in. She's about 73% free throw shooter on the season.
About or actually?
She is.
Okay. She made both. I'm not going to ask how many attempts because I know that trips you up.
She's 72 out of 98 attempts.
There it is. Thrown away here by Wilmington, and Capital will take over.
I pass statistics. I can give you the numbers if this is a number game here.
Brewer gives it off to Murphy now on Cap's possession. That's
Flash.
A long 3 from Murphy, and she gets that to rain down.
That's what this team needed as they're down by 1 point already.
Yeah, they needed to get back into this game a little bit. It started off again with 4 turnovers. They're actually 2 for 2 shooting now. It's a 6-5 game. Wilmington looks like they're ready to make some subs to start things off. That's a travel.
Yeah, that was a clear.
But she traveled on the first possession, or Poland did, excuse me. That time that was Seiler, but they got away with it. This is Jakaya Lotz now, a freshman out of Richmond, Indiana, right on the border of Indiana and Ohio. She'll come in. Interesting substitution there. You take out a wing or a guard in Bailey and bring in a big, so they get a little bit bigger now.
It'll make it difficult.
And an offensive foul now, a 5th turnover for the Comets. I believe that went on Brewer. It was.
That is her first foul.
First of the game for the Comets.
Her first team foul.
Other foul earlier that led to the free throws for O'Connor. That was Seiler who picked up the personal. Wide open under the basket. They miss her twice, lots. I'm paused for words because I'm looking down at the bench as this is a bank shot that goes in from Lovett.
Call bank.
There is an assistant coach on Wilmington who is pacing the sideline because of how many missed passes were thrown there. And you can kind of see her at the bottom left of your screen. She's moved all the way from the one side, the coach's area to the end of the bench, pacing after a couple of missed open looks on that end of the floor. Very interesting to take in from up here. O'Connor.
That's not the head coach?
It might be the head coach, actually. It is the head coach. That is Coach Blakesport. She went literally from the scorer's table down to the end of the bench, throwing her arms up a few times because they were missing open shots. Or open looks. They didn't miss the actual shot, but they weren't getting the passes off in time, and she was very upset. A shot here from Lotz is no good. That's a foul. Thank you.
Oh, they call it a jump ball? Or
No, that's a foul. Yeah, they called the over the back there. You can tie him up, but not from behind there. And Weiland got bear hugged. So Weiland and Brewer will come out. Horsley will check in with Ronnie Thigpen, I believe. Yep. And that's pretty much the rotation right now. These two coming off the bench, and we might see some Ellie Ray tonight, but that's pretty much it for Capital. Very tight unit right now. 5 minutes in, Capital has taken 2 shots so far. They're 1 for 2. Pass goes into Thigpen, and she gets swatted by Jada Pullen.
That was personal.
Kennedy Lewis now in transition, kick out, 3 ball the other way is good. Marissa Seiler. So how about that sequence? A rejection on this end of the floor, leading to 3 on the other side. And that is an ugly 5-point swing. It makes it an 11-5 game. And 5 minutes in, Capital with 2 shot attempts and 5 turnovers make it 6. Taken away this time by Lotz.
Hey, I got to give, that was some good defense right there by Lotz, stepping up to play against a guard like that and locked up Murphy.
Seiler now gives it off to Lewis. Now at the top of the key. I'm sorry, left of the key to Lovett. Now at the top, an air ball thrown up by Jada Pullen.
Close the windows. It's pretty chilly outside, nippy, 20 degrees below.
Wilmington shooting 62%, 5 of 8. Comets 1 for 3. There's been 9 turnovers, 6 from the Comets. Wilmington has been credited with 5 steals already. Horsley wanted it and thought better of it. She's got the sleeves on. She must think it's pretty chilly, too. Pass inside to O'Connor, and nice look there from Perkins. O'Connor gets the basket. She has 5. Make that 4 in the first quarter here. It makes it an 11-7 game. All things considered, 6 turnovers in 6.5 minutes, Jonathan. It's only a 4-point game.
Not bad.
Nice take here from Lewis. And that might have got altered on the way up, and now O'Connor is fouled by Lotz. That shot went straight up almost like it had to have been blocked or something there.
Yeah, that's her second, so she already heads back to the bench already.
Couple of subs. That's Z Bailey checking back in. Lotz actually will stay out there.
Oh, wow.
With the 2 fouls. She did move towards the bench. And Kyra Walker, the sophomore out of Reynoldsburg, checks in as well. Homecoming-ish for her. Always, I guess that's considered Central Ohio still. O'Connor fakes the pass, gets tied up by Lotz, and now Perkins has it. What a physical move there by Samari Perkins.
That's a good physicality right there. Lotz tried to take it like taking candy from a baby.
Yeah, that got chippy, and O'Connor did a nice job hanging on to it. Gets it off to Perkins, and a very physical layup from her. Pass now on this end of the floor, right wing. It's Walker on the free throw line, extended now. Gives it off on a pass to Bailey, and she gets it to go. Now, Bailey, she looks tiny out there, but she is a baller, I'm telling you. She's a senior, and she's had some big games in this building against this Capital team.
You know, she averages about 8 points per game. Not about, she does. She averages 8 points
yeah,
per game.
we're gonna get rid of that about, as Murphy about made that shot, but it didn't go down. What was your point?
I was saying that, you know, short people are not short, but see, now you got
I got you flustered now.
Yeah, you know, she's able to, with her quickness and elusiveness right here.
Being guarded by O'Connor, and that speaks to the level of respect Capital has, throwing one of their best defenders on her. 3 ball here from Lewis, and that's good from outside. That's something Kennedy Lewis has added to her game. Again, another senior who's we've seen a lot of in this matchup. She's played a lot all 4 years as a Quaker. This one will luckily stay with Capital. And Kennedy Lewis, not really much of a shooter earlier in her career. Looks pretty good there.
I just like what we're seeing. Poland causing that ball to go out of bounds, poking it out of Murphy's hands. But the Quakers have come on hot here. They've got more volume putting their shots, so 7 to 12 already, shooting 58%. And Capital only merely 6 shots put up and going 3 or 6. So hoping to see some more shots be put up here.
And Lewis shoots just 19% from 3 to give you that number. Again, not really known for that outside shot, but she'll drop a few in. Bailey's shooting 43% from outside for what that's worth. O'Connor misses the 3-point attempt here.
That looked like it was tipped a little bit.
She was arguing that it was.
But then Weiland touched it and went out of bounds. So the Quakers ball. This is what we tend to see from Capital, though. And if, they tend to start off slow sometimes. And when they start off slow, it's hard for them to kind of catch up here. So they are letting the Quakers have their way.
Missed shot here from Poland, and that's going to go out of bounds. They could not corral it. Zariah Bailey, as she used to go by last year, now is on the roster, Z Bailey. She had 6 points, 8 rebounds in this game last year in this building. Kennedy Lewis had 11 and 6 assists in that game. So, again, a very veteran group with those two in the backcourt. And Cassidy Lovett, the other starter in this game, she played 24 minutes off the bench in last year's game. Brewer gets fouled.
See who they call it on Poland. It's her first and actually the team's fourth. Yeah, but we talked about how Coach McPherson has a tight rotation. She calls on two freshmen in her rotation, so this is a young squad.
And a freshman in the starting lineup in Perkins, as O'Connor loses it again. Just too many turnovers for Capital in this quarter, and that is a great finish there. Is that Walker on the? That was Walker on the finish off the bench. That was an impressive finish.
Sky Walker, she walked her way to the rim.
18-9, Wilmington doubling up. Brewer got away with a travel, and stepping out of bounds there was Horsley.
That is another turnover, and we're not even out of the first quarter here, and we've seen 7 turnovers from Capital.
And going back 2 years ago, finishing that point at Kennedy Lewis, 16 in that game as well. So she has been a problem for Capital, mismatch nightmare, and this was as a sophomore in this building. She's very comfortable here. She's out of Dayton, Ohio. And she'll bring it across the floor now for the Quakers, as this will be probably the last possession.
And just what you said, guess who's in the game? Number 2, Allie Ray.
Yeah, getting her first playing time in a minute here, coming back from injury. So we'll see how long they keep her out there. Horsley guarding Walker. Pass goes to Lewis. Lewis stepping back. 3-ball. No good. That's the shot you want her to take if you're Capital there. Get a 19% 3-point shooter. But all in all, a very good first quarter played by Wilmington. 7 different players get on the scoreboard for the Quakers, led by Seiler's 5. But again, 7 different players on the scorecard for the Quakers. Make it 6, I can't add. But they all made at least one shot. Capital, meanwhile, struggling. 3 for 7 from the field. That's great. 8 turnovers, though. And they had more turnovers than shots taken. We'll see if they can clean it up in quarter number 2. We'll be right back. All right, quarter number 2 action coming your way here. Jimmy Bloomfield, Jonathan Brown with you. And looking for better results here in the second quarter. Kind of a quarter to forget about there, Jonathan, with all the turnovers.
Yeah, hopefully they can bounce back here. New quarter, new energy. See if they can swing momentum back in their way. It's
the starting 5 for the Comets, with the exception of Ellie Ray staying in there, replacing Murphy, and thrown away there by Brewer.
Looks like the same first quarter woes are sticking with them.
Turns out a minute and a half break is not enough to kind of reset the matchup here. Wilmington's been really good on the offensive side themselves. They're taking better care of the ball. They're shooting 53%, 8 for 15, make it 9 for 16, and a nice finish again. They know how to get to the rim. They have a lot of penetrators on this team, and not the best outside shooting team, but they'll get to the basket and get those high percentage looks.
They're a high volume team. They average about 60 shots per game, so they know how to put shots up.
Yep. Another miss here from Capital. Walker with that last basket. She's now trying to make it 2 in a row, and that's why they don't shoot too much from outside.
I told you to close the windows outside. It's very cold. Ball had a little breeze on it.
A little heat check there from Walker, but no good. And now it's still 20-9. It has been a 9-0 run over the last 4 minutes, and now another turnover. Goodness.
That's 10.
Marissa Seiler gives it away now to Bailey, and Bailey can't hang on to it. So a break for the Comets in transition there, trying to push the tempo were the Quakers. Pass inside to Perkins, and that's a good place to start right down low with Samari. She's got 4.
Trust her. That's big body bends down low. Feed her.
Walker showing off the moves again, gets to the basket. She's fouled by Perkins.
Yeah.
That is Perkins' first. Only 1 foul picked up for the Comets in the first quarter. It was on Brewer.
So it'll be the team's first. So, like we said, we know they have a tight rotation. So, if we know Allie Raid's coming back into the rotation, you have Thigpen, and then you have Horsley coming off the bench.
Yep.
And we know who our 3 volume shooters are. Somebody else has to be an adjacent piece here and at least to put up some form of points here for the team.
And play like Brewer, she can get involved in other ways too with assists. We've seen she's a very good passer. Sometimes turns it over a lot too. I believe last year she led the league in assists and turnovers. So kind of the good and the bad. And here's one that was almost given away by Brewer. But even though she's not necessarily on the stat sheet in terms of points so much, she's someone that can get involved too in this offense and force the issue with some good passing, get some open looks for those big 3.
Yeah, last year she watched a little too much Russell Westbrook, but she's stepped into her role as a leader on this team as a senior as well.
Look at that move. Behind the back, goes outside. Weiland 3, no good. That would have been one for the highlight reel. Nice move by Brewer, but it leads to nothing on that end of the floor. Capital at least ends the scoring drought, and it's a 22-11 game, and now a basket here on this end from Bailey. She's too quick.
Yes, the Quakers are.
Oh, Ray got hit in the face, and a foul is called. Looked like she might have traveled, but she was she went up to hold her face to check for blood from her nose. I think she got punched pretty much in the face there, unintentionally, of course, but.
That'll wake you up.
Oh, yeah. That never feels good.
It'll definitely wake you up. So she'll get some water, and she'll be back in the game shortly.
Yeah, I feel like Murphy was coming in there anyway, based on the rotation. And, I don't know, she lose a contact too, maybe? Yeah, she did. She's actually putting a new contact lens in as well, so.
Did you ever wear, like, when you play sports, the sports goggles?
Oh, the goggles are class. Horace Grant style.
That's not the new trend anymore?
No, I don't think so. I haven't seen any of them. I see a lot of contacts, though. Foul called against the Quakers. Not much of an athlete these days.
I just love it. That's her second foul. Team's third. But yeah, those were like I don't know.
Specs.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a big contact guy myself, so.
So you would play in your glasses if you wore to step on the court? Okay. All right. Respect.
Get the backup pair out, you know?
Respect. Got to have a backup
The prescription, man. You can't perform. You can't. Expensive. Foul down low again. It's turned into a foul fest this possession.
That one on Stover. That's the team's 4. So quickly they are approaching to put Capital in the bonus real soon.
7:22 left in the quarter, and we're already no fouls to give here for the Quakers, and that could help Capital get back in this thing. Oh, nice crossover from O'Connor. She drives in now, shows off her physical ability, and that's just a great take.
See how her going left or right.
That was weak side, too, on the take there from O'Connor. Now Wilmington on this end. Weiland, really good defense.
And she got the foul call. Wow, that would be on Weiland, her first.
That's one of those Aaron Kraft fouls with the legs there. Those don't get called as often, but I think that was the right call. And you give the appearance of being straight up. She has her hands straight up, and the upper half is not moving, but it's the legs that you can kind of get away with some fouls sometimes.
And that puts Walker at the free throw line. The season, she's 86%.
About?
She is 86.4 to be exact.
Nice. Maddie Duguid getting ready to check in here for the Comets. Second free throw is good. So Kyra Walker, a nice 7-minute spurt off the bench here. She scores 7 points, picks up a steal and an assist as well, and that is some production off the bench for the Quakers. 25-13 as Duguid checks in for the Comets. O'Connor and Perkins still in there. Perkins misses the layup on the pass from O'Connor. It's Murphy, Brewer, O'Connor, Perkins, and Duguid. So the starting five, with the exception of Duguid out there in the place of Weiland.
So McPherson extending her rotation.
Duguid was a starter for the Comets at the start of the season.
Almost a strip right there.
5 to shoot for the Quakers. A really good defensive sequence. I thought they were going to get bailed out with the shot there. And Capital deserved to stop that sequence. Hard-fought defensive effort there for 30 seconds. See if they can get something on this end. O'Connor for 3. No good. Nice rebound. Murphy kicks out Brewer. Brewer looks inside, goes back top of the key. Perkins along 2. That's good.
Good shot right there. Midi.
6 for Perkins.
You don't see a lot of players take a lot of mid-range shots no more.
That European game.
Yeah.
A little mid-range from Perkins. She hasn't been shy about taking those. Well, we talked about the Comets' big three. They have all 15 points tonight. 6 from Perkins, 6 from O'Connor, 3 from Laney. That's it.
And you see, and then we talked about it earlier, and their loss, because they're on a 2-game losing streak right now on the road, and that loss against Muskegon, their 3 main scorer, our big 3, finished with double digits. And then you go look at the rest of the bench. You got somebody just getting 6 and 3 points. That's the way it came to a 3-point loss. And like I said, somebody else has to just come up here and at least be consistent, get to the free throw line, added score.
Some issue with Murphy's jersey. I'm not sure.
Stain, some blood on it?
Yeah, maybe, because they're rubbing something on it, some sort of cream. Or Tide to go or something on the jersey there. It might have been some blood. I don't know. She's able to stay in, and O'Connor almost gets the takeaway and almost gets it again, and now it's passed off to Bailey. Bailey works against Perkins. That's a huge mismatch. They get the switch off, but now Duguid's guarding her, and Brewer's able to poke it free off of Seiler. Oh, they had to get that ball back to Bailey there. She had a huge mismatch.
That was good defense, though, by Capital, forcing the turnover here.
25-15. Remember, the Comets still 1 shy of going into the bonus with any foul here from the Quakers. Murphy's trying to create her own shot. Gives it off to Perkins instead. Perkins into Duguid. 1-on-1 down low. Nice move. And that good finish from Duguid.
Good business.
25-17. Your score. All things considered, Comets still in this ball game, and Kennedy Lewis gets the bucket.
I believe is that on.
Yeah, I believe they count the bucket there. They do. Wasn't sure if it might have been a charge. It's on Murphy. She picks up her first.
So her first, team's third here.
Lovett and Walker check back in now for the Quakers, replacing Seiler and Bailey.
Lewis on the season, 73%.
Really good player here, Kennedy Lewis.
69 of the 94 attempts.
This here would have been the traditional three-point play. Not a good three-point shooter, so maybe that's why the miss there as well. Perkins in transition now. Lewis takes it away. Kennedy Lewis doesn't get enough credit for the plays she makes on the floor. Kick out now for Walker. 3 ball, no good. And there's an assist just waiting there for Lewis. 12.6 points per game. She's a top 10 scorer in the conference. 3 ball here from Murphy, no good. Nice. First
Good
from
move.
Kennedy
That's a good
Lewis.
move right there.
Timeout called by Coach McPherson. Kennedy Lewis is putting on a show right now for the Quakers. And she's got her team up 29-17. We'll be right back. Welcome back. 29-17 our score. 4:25 to play. Comets still running with the same unit they've had out there. Do good in the place of Weiland in the starting five. Perkins, pass, tipped. That's going to stay here.
Oh, that was tipped off of Emma Wright.
Comets shooting 43% still, 7 for 16. Good numbers there. Wilmington 12 for 22. And now leading all scorers is Kennedy Lewis and Kyra Walker, each have 7. 28-17. Or 29-17, excuse me. O'Connor into the paint. Almost lost it, gives it out to Perkins. Perkins now drives, weak side. Good finish again from Perkins. She's got 8, now leads all scorers.
That big body bends. Feed her down low. That's where she thrives.
She can do some work on this Wilmington team down low. Very young unit. 3 ball from outside. No good. Ball is bouncing around. Someone's got to grab it. It's going to be a jump ball. It's going to stay with Wilmington. Get a fresh reset of the shot clock, too. Actually, they make it down to 20 now.
You practice tip drills. You got to bring that in.
Dick Penn replaces Dugood now, and Elise Carpenter checks back in on the other side for Maura Drake, who had her first minutes there, number 40. I'm sorry, it was Emma Wright, excuse me, number 40 for the Quakers coming out there. Lewis slaps the ball into the basket. Goes top of the key here, and it'll be collected by Seiler. 20 to shoot here for the Quakers, 3.5 minutes till halftime. Lewis, guarded by Murphy, gives it off to Lovett. Lovett now to the top, right wing. Walker, 3 ball, no good. Rebounds. It's a fight for it. Lovett gets it. Bounce pass inside to Walker. Works against Perkins. Gets hacked. She will go to the line.
See who that foul is on.
It's 2 on Perk.
That's team's 4, so they don't have a foul to give anymore.
That'll be it for the first half for Samari as well. I assume. Yep, Weiland's back in there.
We talked about she is the leading scorer right now for Capital with 8 points. And then again, only 4 scorers for Capital. And out of the big 3, that's Maddie Dugood, who's now on the bench. Walker at the free throw line. This is her second attempt at the free throw line so far.
Split the pair. She has 8 off the bench for the Quakers. She's been a big X factor here in the first half. 3 minutes to play until halftime. Murphy, Thigpen, Brewer around a screen from O'Connor, gets a screen from Thigpen, goes inside, nice cut by Weiland, and she's fouled by Carpenter.
And that'll be Wilmington's 5th. That puts Capital in the bonus, but that's
pretty impressive. They had that 5th, well, impressive, maybe too strong of a word, but they had the 5th foul at 7:44. 4.5 minutes go by without committing a foul there for the Quakers, and this one would have been a shooting foul anyway. Weiland gets it to go.
Finally making it into a 10-point game. That's what you need here. Free throw shots are important here. The season, 61% from the free throw line.
Oh, you're there.
I got you. I got you.
She gets both.
21 out of 34 attempts on the season.
So she's approaching 63 now after the 2 for 2. 30-21, our score, 9-point game, which feels like a lot, but all things considered, honestly, I think Capital is pretty happy to be where they are. Did not play well at the first part of this first half. Starting to kind of settle in, and they need some stops on the defensive end. Wilmington is led by as much as 13 in this game. Shot here, no good. And now taken away, and then a SWAT team by Weiland.
Like that, what you say, 2 blocks? 2 blocks per game?
About 2 a game is what she needs.
And that's 1.
That's 1. Weiland on the season. She has, that's her season high, excuse me. There's blocks on here. Here we go. She has 38 blocks on the season now. I believe 51 is the number that she needs to catch.
She's doing it. She's on her way.
Pass goes into the corner for Walker. Walker skipping around there. And how about 2 in a row?
And she stared her down. She stared her down. Okay then, Weiland.
That's 2 in a span of about 20 seconds there from Weiland. Wow. All right, let's try it again. Pass goes in, and Bailey will hold, guarded by Weiland. Walker has it. Lewis with a fake. Tip pass by O'Connor, switching off the defenders now, and now it goes to the left side. Left wing to Walker. Has been very involved in the offense. Walker sizes up a 12-footer, and it's good.
It's at the fall.
10 points for Walker. First to double figures tonight. And puts Wilmington back up by 11. 1:57 to play. No good from O'Connor on this end.
She wanted a foul call.
She ain't going to get one. Walker on the left wing. Gives it off to Lewis, who's been pretty quiet now. It's been the Walker show for Wilmington lately. And Walker loses it. How about a steal for Weiland? Maybe we can give her credit for her block instead. Brewer in transition gets the basket. Tough layup, fading away, but she gets it to go down.
Good job by Brewer finding her way to the basket here. That's what you're going to have to find here. When your 2 leading scorers are out there and they're not able to find their way to the basket, somebody else has got to take that initiative.
51 is the official number, by the way, on the blocks that Maddie Weiland is chasing. So with the 2 so far today, she's up to 39 now, right? It's at 37. Yep, 39 on the season. So she needs 12 to tie the record. 5 games left. So, yeah, about 2 or 3 a game is what we said. Weiland not going to get credit for the steal because of the shot clock violation going off, but basically yet another steal.
Well, it looks like, Capital is trying to turn things around here, trying to crawl back into this lead here. Only now down by 9. It was double-digit figures, and now you're able to crawl back here.
Two for one opportunity here for the Comets. Pass goes inside to O'Connor, and she lost it. Might have been a foul there on Bailey, but she really held her ground. Now Lewis misses. Good defense from Murphy. Weiland probably got fouled. Lotz now has a loose ball. It goes out to Bailey. Lewis blocked by Weiland. That's 3 from Eddie.
Weiland doing what she's supposed to do. We talk about playing your role. She's a defensive asset here, and already with 3 blocks and trying to help this team crawl back into this game.
Pass from Lewis now, top of the key. Bailey's going to shoot this one. No good. There's so much movement. She was moving towards the basket as she shot it. Weird look. 23-32. Cap chasing 9 here with 10 seconds left. Big pen for 3. No good. I thought that was down. I haven't seen her attempt a 3 all season. Now Bailey runs by everybody, pulls up from 3. No good. And a wild end of the first half. 32-23. Your score at the break. Any thoughts on that one before we kick it to a timeout?
Well, that was an ugly one in the first half for Capital. You finish off with 14 turnovers as a whole. So right now it looks like they're playing themselves, and Wilmington is slowly letting them crawl back here. So hopefully they can get things turned around in the second half.
We'll see what happens. 32-23, our score. 15 minutes on the clock for halftime. So we'll be right back in about 14 or so. Bring things back to the Capitol Center. 32-23 lead for the Quakers.
have to go like this.
How do you make a P?
How do I do it? I can do a P.
You just gotta like make
You
a
can do
little.
the A. How you can do the A? Like this? Let's do it, bro. Yeah. Right.
Where's the broadcast?
Or you can grab that.
Bring it in.
You're taking
Welcome back to the Capitol Center. 32-23 our score. Capitol -9 at the half. 9 for 20 from the field. Those are good numbers, Jonathan, but they've taken 12 less shots than the Quakers. Some of that is the rebounding, +2 for Wilmington, but the bigger story there is the turnovers. 14-7, -7 in the turnover department. And even though they're shooting more efficiently from the field, 45% to 40%, they have 12 less shots. That makes it hard to catch up, and they're down by 9. That's kind of the story of the first half.
Well, we'll see if Wilmington will take their foot off the gas pedal. They kind of eased up here in the second quarter. Capitol was down by double-digit figures, and now they're only a 9-point game here as we are getting ready prepared to start off the second half here. And hopefully they can get some additional scores here. Perkins is back in the lineup with 2 fouls, and she's the leading scorer for Capitol. And Walker, Kyria Walker for Wilmington with 10 points of her own. So we'll see if we can get the momentum swinging in their direction.
She is the future of the backcourt here for Wilmington with 3 seniors in the starting lineup, and Perkins with the basket.
That's too easy. Feed her.
Samari was the first one out of the locker room to warm up for the Comets, and it's showing already. Now Murphy gets a steal. She's looking out ahead. She's going to the bucket. Kick out 3-ball. O'Connor, step back, short. Gets her own miss. Follow your shot. And that's what happens. Oh, she did not get it to go. I thought she was fouled. And now Wilmington will run the other way with Bailey. Gives it off to Poland. Poland had the first make of the game and hasn't made a shot since. She's now 1 for 5. Here's Kennedy Lewis from 3. Wow.
Deep range. A team that doesn't really shoot that many threes. Lewis with 2 3-pointers already.
19% three-point shooter on the season. You wouldn't think it there. That was a pretty looking shot. She's got 10. Walker's got 10. And the Quakers lead by 10. Brewer now drives baseline, picks up her dribble, bounce pass over to Weiland, who had 3 blocks in the first half, chasing down that block record, and goes for the tough finish. No good. Rebound collected again by Poland. Lewis in transition, may have walked. Poland behind the back. Okay. Kicks out. 3-ball. Love it. No good. Love the miss. And it's a rebound for Brewer.
For a team that doesn't make as many 3-point shots, they are definitely putting them up.
Murphy calls for it. Gets the cross-court pass. 3-ball. No good. Weiland probably could have got called for an over the back there. Fortunately didn't. Lewis in transition. Kick out. Love it. Didn't want it that time. Poland drives into the paint. Bounce pass to Bailey. Kick out. Love it. Still doesn't want that shot. Kick out again to Lewis. Sometimes you just got to pull the trigger there. Love it again. Kicks out Lewis. Lewis drives baseline. Nice bounce pass. Swatted from behind by Weiland, and a foul called against the Quakers. That's 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 4, 4.
So now we're getting into that realm. She has her season high for a game is 6. The school record is 7.
She's feeling
It's
like
on the.
that.
It's in the cards. It's early.
If she's feeling like that, pull it out.
35-25, our score again. Comets are now scoreless in their last 133. They've made only 1 of their last 6 shots, and a good way to get back into the ball game, as always, get to the free throw line, stop the clock, get some free looks at the basket here from the free throw line. Perkins with 10 on 5 of 7 shooting. She's no doubt been the player of the game so far for the Comets. Takes her time and gets it to go.
These are key points right here. Free throws are going to be a good factor for this team to kind of get their way back here into this game.
Chance for Perkins to take the lead. Well, she actually did already with the game high 11. And splits a pair at the line. It's been an ongoing battle for leading scorer in this game, and Lewis has been a part of it. She loses it on the way up. O'Connor comes away with it, gets it to Brewer. There's numbers. Go. Brewer gets it across the timeline, drives to the basket, layup, floater, no good, rebounds. Tied up, foul.
Let's see who they call it.
I think it's on Brewer.
Yeah.
That's on Demi. That's her second. Oh, they had numbers there. They had some numbers, and Brewer got a good look at the basket. There's nothing wrong with the shot selection there. Just didn't get it to go down.
Fast break opportunity, and the Quakers were able to stop that right there.
(35-26) though, still our score. Wilmington is scoreless in their last 2 minutes now. They're 1 for their last 7 from the field. Lewis kicks out. Lovett still doesn't want that 3. Bailey tries to send to Poland, and she gets it to go. That is the 4th 3 now for Wilmington.
Behind the arc.
Lead is back up to 12, and that's actually the largest. I'm sorry, they had a 13-point lead at one point. Charge is now called against Samari, and that's her 3rd.
Wow.
15th turnover for the Comets. 3 fouls now on Perkins, who's been the main offensive feature tonight.
Leading scorer on this team, and it looks like I think Coach McPherson is going to pull her out.
Pretty much have to. Thigpen checked in for the Comets. A pretty big unit right now for Capital, so they can afford to send Horsley in and get a little bit smaller again. O'Connor gets her first break of the game.
6 points right now. 2 of 8 in this game. Just she's not getting in the rhythm right now. That's a double dribble.
Yeah, double dribble on Poland. O'Connor is still the leading scorer in this conference by 4 points per game. Struggling, though, efficiency-wise. She had a lot of missed shots this year, and we're seeing a lot of those, 4 for 13 type score lines for her. You mentioned 2 for 8 tonight, 0 for 3 from 3. Need to get her back onto the consistent side of scoring. She's had those big 20-point games. Here's Murphy with a bank that rolled out.
O'Connor, she was recently, not this past week, but when Capital was on their run, she was nominated and named OAC Player of the Week. So, sometimes you have it, some days you don't. And right now, hopefully she can find it in the rest of this game.
Consistency has been the main word that we're looking for. Taking care of the ball, offensively, all that stuff. 38-26, Wilmington leads. And if they score in this possession, they'll have their largest lead of the night. Lovett still refusing to pull from outside. Bounce pass.
Somehow.
How did that get to Lotz? And then Weiland somehow missed the block there, and the shot is off. Comets get a stop. Brewer now working against Bailey. Good defense from Bailey. Pass inside to Weiland now from Horsley. That was halfway down. She was fouled. Can hear it from up here. Thigpen defending now. 6-3 this quarter so far for the Quakers here. We're 5 minutes in. Outside pass, Poland 3, no good. Good look from Lewis. Rebound goes to Lovett. Brewer goes for the steal. Wide open player down low. Bad rotation defensively. Timeout called by Coach McPherson after the layup there from Jakea Lotz. 40-26, Wilmington's largest lead of the night. And we'll see if Cap's got a run in them here. (40-26). Caps down by 14. Need a run here, JB.
Need something.
On the left wing, it's Thigpen. Gives it off to Murphy. Murphy, Weiland. Thought about it. Now drives in. Kicks out Thigpen for 3. No, that was ugly. And the rebound collected by Walker. Kind of a forced shot there from Ronnie. And now that's a charge.
Raise that elbow up. That'll be Lovett's 3rd.
Brewer's good for one of those a game, drawing those charges. Sacrificing the body, as they say.
A real player right there. Not everybody wants to put their body on the line like that.
40-26, still our score.
Not what you expected here in this matchup, and this is they're playing for a lot here. In
Yeah,
Wilmington.
we got to turn to O'Connor here and see what she can do. She comes in off the bench now. She have the brace on that knee before? I don't think she did. O'Connor driving in, and Lewis just pickpocketed her, takes it away, and O'Connor picks up the foul.
So
I don't think she had the brace on, right? Did she have the left knee brace on when she came out of the game?
I don't recall that being
I
on
don't.
there.
I don't either. So that's something to keep in mind. And she is kind of stretching that knee out as she backs up the floor. So that might be why she came out. Some sort of knee issue there for O'Connor. Something to keep an eye on. What were you saying there? I'm sorry.
I was going back to when they first played against Wilmington. They were able to handle their business. You had double-digit figures from the triple, the big three for Capital. Lewis was the main scorer for the Quakers.
Walker with another basket.
And the key component, they went on a run in the second quarter when they played 23-5 and outscored them in that game right there. But right now they're being outscored in this matchup here. You know, they got outscored in the first quarter 18-9. They're able to crawl back 14-14. So hopefully they can go on a run here in this third quarter.
Weiland battling. Are they going to get her for the foul, or is that on Brewer here? They're pointing at Horsley. Now it's Weiland.
So that's Weiland's second.
Duguid will check in for Weiland now, and checking in for Wilmington is Brooke Stover, the junior out of Franklin, Ohio.
That's the team's fifth, actually. That puts Wilmington in the bonus with 3:21 left to go here in the third quarter. This is just not what you're supposed to be seeing here.
Lotz is at the line. She is a 50% free throw shooter. I don't have the attempts ready, though. She misses the first.
50% free throw shooter, 9-18.
She splits the pair, stays at 50 on the season, and now checking in is Brooke Stover. Lacrosse coming up here at Capitol, by the way. Just got the schedule sent to me, so first broadcast March 1st.
Exciting.
30 days away. Or 28. We're in February now, so be exciting times over at the football field to the left there. Tie up here from Brewer after she lost it. She gets the arrow, but it's going to go towards Wilmington. Grace was named a preseason All-American for D3 women's team.
Leading all scorers last year.
Yeah, as a freshman, too.
As a freshman.
So crazy.
I'm excited. You know, this year they named their captains Lucy Kanowski as well as Grace Osborne. And the third one, I'm going to get it, but she's a defender. And three great captains under the great helmets of this coach last year, led them undefeated, so hopefully they can keep things going this year. I guarantee, you know what, I'd be surprised if OSC does them dirty. They'll probably do them dirty in the rankings again.
Tie up here. That's going to go to Capital this time. Their first game is actually on February 18th, but the first broadcast is on the 1st.
Riley Jarvis.
There you go.
It is. That is the other
I'm
captain.
pulling it up for you. I'm helping you out. So, it's a very pretty good experienced team getting Kanowski back for the graduate year. That's going to be huge.
I'm surprised. I was looking at the schedule. Not a lot of home games.
No. Horsley, bounce pass over to O'Connor. And, of course, we'll have the men's game as well as O'Connor gets the basket here. But keep that on the back burner, and you'll start to see some lacrosse trickle through here towards the end of the month and into March. Gets us into the spring with softball and baseball and all that as well. 43-28. Capital trying to battle their way back here. Stover no good. Rebound to Lewis. The offensive rebounds have been a killer as well. Wilmington is now +9 on the boards, +5 on the turnovers, and +15 on the scoreboard. And they've taken 9 more shots, and they've made 6 more shots. Stover, bounce pass. Love it, in a double team. Had to throw it up, no good. Oh, get that rebound. That's going to stay here. So another offensive rebound, plus 10. Allie Ray will check in for Horsley.
We're going to need something here because we're approaching the end of the third quarter.
And the three-point shooting for Capital, too. 1 for 10 in this game. I believe Murphy made the first three. That was the that was the first shot of the game for the Comets. And since that make, they're 0 for 9 from outside. That could have been a foul. Missed everything. Rebound by Dogood. She bodies her way for that board. Gets it up to Murphy. Murphy to Ray. I'm sorry, to Brewer. And Brewer's fouled, I believe.
I'm sorry, Jimmy. I've just been trying to read that. I don't know if you see that. Those ladies out there with their phone. I just been
I can't read it either. That's like the smallest sign I've ever seen. The one looks like it says us. I don't know.
It's like Wordle.
43-28. Can't see it on camera. It's off to the left side. Some people holding up a phone with some sort of message. Do good. No call, I guess. Now Brewer just rips it away.
That's strength right there.
I don't know if that's a rebound or a steal off the rebound. Now Murphy looking to create a shot. They are not letting her shoot from outside. Brewer almost lost it. Knocked out by Lewis. Actually knocked out by Walker.
You know, surprisingly, Capital, they've done well this whole entire season at home. They've only one loss in the overtime matchup here against Mount Union, and hopefully they can figure something out here.
It's going to start with Murphy.
There we go.
I think that's who you need to get going because you're going to need some outside shots. 43-30.
Shots in general. Murphy, that's 5 points for her already in this game.
First make since the first quarter. Carpenter gives off to Bailey. Bailey gets a screen and roll, guarded by Brewer. Brewer blocks it. The ball is loose. It comes away to Walker for a three, some straight on, no good. Bailey rises up, and how about that? The 5'3" Z Bailey gets the rebound and puts it back in on the putback. Capital now rushing the other way. It's Brewer from three. That missed everything, and that'll be the buzzer. 45-30. Wilmington extends their lead, +4 that quarter, and the Comets will trail by 15 heading into the fourth. We'll see if they got a run in them. We'll be right back. Well, we're down by 15. We have 30 total points, so somehow, some way, we're going to need to have a big quarter. We're talking 25 points here to have a chance.
Yeah, we need something to turn around here. Like I said, the main leading scorer on Capital and the only player with double-digit figures is Samari Perkins with 11, while Wilmington has 2 players in double-digit figures, Walker and Lewis with 10 and 12 apiece.
And those two are playing a game of who can get to 20 points faster. O'Connor with the steal right away. She goes to the bucket. She is fouled hard. And she'll get to the floor. Looks like she collided with the photographer or someone down there by the cheerleading.
I believe that was a photographer.
Yeah. Maybe that's a cool shot. You never know. Sometimes it is.
I don't think that those are those shots you're expecting. That would be a foul on Karia Walker, her third foul, and Connor at the free throw line. She's perfect so far.
Yep. You just got to take this one possession at a time. Get your stop. Get your score. Get your stop. Get your score. And We'll check back in 5 minutes, see how close we get.
In increments. Right now they're down by 13, and you get that down to 10, that down to 5. Another game here.
Carpenter gives off to Bailey. Bailey looks to the left, head pull in there. Now coming around the screens, Walker. Walker back to the basket. And a nice pass to Lotz, and she finishes it.
Freshman making an impact here. 5 points.
She's got a nice little game down low there. Back to 15. Brewer works against Bailey. Tries to give off to O'Connor on the left elbow. O'Connor faces up, goes to the bucket, swatted.
That was by Poland.
That's her second block of the game.
Poland. 2 different places, different people.
O'Connor skip pass to Brewer for 3. Yes!
Splash!
Demi Brewer needed that one.
Deep in her bag. We often don't see her take shots from behind the arc, but team needs it. Needed it now.
47-35. We'll see if that injects some life in them here. Walker gives off to Poland. Poland works against Murphy. Back to the bucket. Kick out. 3 ball from Walker. Nope. She'll drive in instead. Drives baseline. Falls to the ground and loses possession. Numbers here for the Comets. Pass run out to Dogood. And she's fouled. And she gets the basket. And there we go. 47-37. And Maddie's to the line. We get Dogood running the floor. Timeout called by Wilmington.
Got an opportunity for a 3-point play here.
They're going to regroup as the Comets have some momentum on their side. Full timeout. Free throws to come when we come back.
Using another man's toilet.
For 47-37. Free throw miss from Dogood, and we're right back in the action here.
10-point game here. Like we said, break it down.
Yeah, they got 5 back in less than 2 minutes, so that's a good pace. Carpenter trying to change that. Banks closed. It's too late for that. O'Connor gets the rebound.
Not taking any deposits right now.
Nope. O'Connor clears out. Probably was an offensive foul, honestly. And now a bounce pass into Perkins. Perkins. Tough finish. Couldn't get the spin. That thing kind of crawled up the rim, but didn't go all the way up. And that was a weird pass and a weird finish, and it almost worked, but coming up a little bit short. Lots. Long 2. No good. And that's on the baseline. That's out of bounds. They miss a call there. Lovett was on the baseline when she touched that.
Well, you know what she just did, though? She out-hustled everybody.
She did. Now Dogood trying to take it away. She finishes the steal. Good defense from Maddie. And now gets it up the floor. Here's Laney Murphy. Laney thought about pulling up. Gives it off to O'Connor. She has a look from 3. No good. And Lovett gets the rebound.
17.
That's one that's got to drop there. Would have cut it to 7. Momentum it feels like it's just kind of uneasy right now. Both teams trying to grab control of this game. Tough finish from Poland, no good. Here's, again, more hustle from Lovett.
She's out there out hustling. Man.
She wants the ball now. She calls for it, gets back, and still doesn't want to take that three, though. Poland. Carpenter. No good. Rebound goes to Brewer. She's going to try to win a foot race with Lewis to the basket. And lets Lewis go over the top. Good patience from Brewer. And she gets the bucket to go. And Brewer's trying to become that kind of fourth scorer now. She has 7. She's outscoring Murphy. And they needed someone to step up, and Demi's doing that right now.
You got 2 players for Capital in double-digit figures, Perkins and O'Connor. So the third one, somebody's got to step up to the role.
7-0 run the last 3 minutes for the Comets. A 9-2 lead here in the fourth quarter overall. Poland, kick out. Love it. No good. Missed everything.
Wilmington has been scoreless in the last about 3 minutes here.
Yeah. 1 for their last 6 now from the field. Duguid comes out. Good minutes from Maddie Duguid. She deserves an applause there. Good defense. Got the tough finish before the timeout. And all of a sudden the Comets can close it to 6 here. Like I said, you just focus one possession at a time, and that you'll start trickling your way back into this thing. 8-point ball game, 5:45 to play. Plenty of time for the Comets to work with. Murphy with the take, no good, and the rebound collected by Poland.
Did a good job keeping her head down and just driving to the basket.
Been working on that in her sophomore year. Love it, extra pass. Gets it off to Seiler, and she gets a tough bank shot to go.
We've just seen a lot more ball movement from Wilmington than we have from Capital.
It's back up to 10 now, 49-39. That ends the 7-0 run. Perkins kicks over to Murphy. Screen from Perkins. Lotz helping out. Good mismatch here if Murphy can get off Lotz, but Lotz has been stepping up defensively. They go inside to Perkins instead and blocked by Poland. So they get the switch, and Wilmington was fine. Lotz held her own, and then they get the block from Poland.
That's her third block of this evening.
Poland, I thought she was going to pull from 3. Now goes behind the back, dribble into the paint. Kick out to Lotz. 12-footer, no good. And Weiland tied up. That's going to go the way of Capital, but we'll switch the arrow over, which could be big later.
We got some substitutions coming in here for Wilmington, and coming back into the game is Walker and Lewis. They're leading 2 scorers.
Take Lovett out. So they have their starting 5 with Walker in there instead of Lovett, and Walker's kind of earned the right to close tonight, if you ask me, with the game that she's had. Up to 12 points now in 17 minutes. Pass goes inside of Weiland here. Perkins gets the offensive rebound. She's fouled. That is the 3rd team foul for Wilmington.
That's on Z. Bailey, team's 3rd.
Cap's going to have to get some fouls in themselves here because they're going to probably have to foul to extend this game, and they have no team fouls here so far, so they're going to have to start using them. Perkins, long 2. She thought about it. She's going to take it. It's no good. And the rebound collected by Poland.
You know, when do you start to press or play a little
Now.
bit more?
Now. Absolutely now. As Lewis just drives right to the basket. Timeout called, and maybe this is to talk about setting that up. Full timeout. It's a 51-39 game. Capital got it back down to 7. Now chasing 12 once again with 4 minutes to play. We'll be right back. (51-39). 4 minutes and 6 seconds to the finish line here from the Quakers, who've led throughout. And would be a big win for them if they can close this thing out. They would pull even with Capital. Capital would still have the tiebreaker between the two teams because they would have split the doubleheader. Split the head-to-heads, I should say, not doubleheader. And Murphy gets to the free throw line here. But nonetheless, it would be a big win for Wilmington because it would put them in a tie with Capital and guarantee them at least a tie of that 6th spot and gives them a little bit more cushion over Mount Union, who's currently 3-9 in the fight at the bottom to qualify for the OAC tournament. Of course, the top 8 teams will qualify.
Well, see, now this raises so many more questions because if they just lost to John Carroll, and John Carroll is below them, but if they were to lose this matchup here and say the playoffs, well, who gets that tiebreaker there? Because that's a split there with Otterbein, split with John Carroll.
Cap would come out because of the win against Marietta. That's the best win of anyone in that group.
Got you.
But as we'll finish that thought in a second here, Bailey with the layups, that's a tough finish, and she gets it to go. The thing that would be big there is if one team can knock off Ohio Northern or Baldwin Wallace at some point of the season in the second swing of things, that team would pretty much guarantee themselves a tiebreaker over anyone else in that group. So it's really just going to come down to which team has the best win from that group. Weiland gets the layup to go. It's interesting how that tiebreaker works out. But basically you're penalized for getting good wins and you're not penalized for having bad losses. So that's kind of how it comes down to. It works like that in every sport as well. 10-point game, 3:04 to play. Walker spinning, whirling around, gives it to Poland, gives it to Lewis, back to Poland. Cap trying to find the steal, trapping defense, and they'll get the stop, but the offensive rebound. And that's a backbreaker there. O'Connor trying to take it away. Now Brewer with the foul, and that's the first of the half. Or first of the fourth quarter, I should say.
That's her third, team's first, but
Heidelberg and John Carroll was postponed tonight. I'm not sure what the story is there. Muskingum getting smoked right now, 57-32 to Marietta. 57-33. Baldwin Wallace is on top of Mount Union. And Ohio Northern is taking care of business. 2 minutes to play. They lead by 9, 55-46 over the Cardinals. So everything's going about as expected outside of this arena. I think Capital probably came into this game as the favorites, but it's not looking good, down by 10 at this point.
that matchup was postponed due to COVID decisions and concerns with the student princes.
Sure. So that will be interesting. Capital is playing host to Heidelberg in a week, so we'll see how extended that postponement process needs to be. 3 ball from here, Lewis, no good, missed everything, so that'll be a violation. No need for the offensive rebound, or defensive rebound there from Perkins. And they're down 10, need a 3 ball here. Brewer gets the screen, goes right to the basket, goes for the quick finish, and she's fouled, tied up, okay. Well, it's as good as a turnover as the possession arrow favors the Quakers. Clean block, and they call it a jump ball because the ball's pretty much trapped in Brewer's hands. You don't see that often. So this weekend, Capital will head to this weekend we host Ohio Northern. I was looking at the wrong weekend. And down by 10 here with 2 minutes left. If can't come out of this. We said at the start of the broadcast, Jonathan, they need to get through this stretch 2-1 in their next 3. And I don't know. Now you got to beat Ohio Northern.
That poses a question. Do you think opposing teams have figured out Capital?
We'll see if that is the question here. Murphy with the floater gets the offensive rebound. Tie-up's going to give Cap the ball this time.
Because if you
it's O'Connor. It starts with O'Connor. You know, she's averaged 17 a game, but that number is dropping. And she was over 20 at some point in the season. She still got her 10 tonight, 10, 5, and 3 with 3 steals. But 5 turnovers and 3 of 11 shooting. So when she's off, 3 ball from Brewer.
Splash.
That's good. Demi's got 10. 7-point game.
Time to call him the senior.
Oh, they're going to call that a kick. It went off Weiland's foot and then hit Wilmington's player, so it technically could have been a turnover. Weiland again jumping up, trying to stop the inbounds pass. It goes to Lewis. We'll touch on that thought a little bit when we catch a break here, Jonathan, on has Capital need to make those adjustments. This is the second time through. Teams are seeing them the second time, so there is something to say about that. Lewis being guarded by Murphy. Cap electing not to foul. Lewis drives in, somehow got the ball out to pull. I didn't even see the pass.
That was a phenomenal pass right there by Lewis.
Didn't even see it. Just looked like she lost it, but she threw it right to Poland. It was a perfect pass from what she was trying to do there. Perkins gets the quick answer. Back to 7. Need a takeaway. They need to start fouling, too. There's only one team foul right now. Get it up court, and Walker now trying to kill some time. You got to foul. We're losing too much clock here. 47 seconds now. Poland pulls back. Faces a double team. And O'Connor gets the steal. And O'Connor goes up the court. She's got a good look at the basket, and she gets it to go. 5-point game. 37 seconds left. Timeout, Wilmington. Hold on. We're right back in it here. 55-50.
Now, if I'm Wilmington,
They got a foul.
I'm Wilmington's coach. You know what I'm telling them? Hold on to the ball.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do here. You know, probably I say this next possession, if you hold on to the ball here and they don't foul, that removes the whole thing.
It's the whole game.
Yeah.
So Cap's going to try for a steal and then foul. And they can do that 4 times. So you would think in the 4 times, there's a pretty decent chance we might get the ball here. But they've got to foul quick. If you don't get that steal, foul. Reset. They got to inbound it again. They're going to have to inbound this basketball 4 times. Try to get your steal, but don't waste too much time doing that because you're going to lose. You're going to lose so much clock that you're not going to have enough time to come back in this game. Wilmington can use the backcourt too. And a good foul here by Perkins. So quick foul. Then we lost a second there, and they got to get it back in once again. Lovett's going to check in now. It's very weird. Oh, now Lovett is not checking in. What are they doing here? Some confusion from Wilmington. Lovett did check in and checks right back out. All right, so Bailey will inbound again. Brewer defending the inbound. Trying to get that 5 seconds. Foul called by Perkins. Seiler didn't like it. She goes into the bench. Perkins obviously didn't mean much harm there. That's her 5th or 4th?
That's her 4th. That's her 5th? Wow.
Yeah, she's fouled out again. And honestly, with this situation, Perkins probably shouldn't have been in the game. You're just going to go for a foul and a steal and a foul. So she probably should have been out of the game, coming back in if free throws happen. But if you do get the steal, you want Perkins out there for the finish. So that's tough too.
Let's see what the refs are deliberating.
The time, the clock didn't move, but the ball was inbounded. But I think maybe half a second would have come off, and they're going to call it pretty much a dead ball foul. So no time comes off the clock. That was what the conversation was about. Lewis will inbound this time. It's interesting that Wilmington is having different inbounders inbound the ball. Weiland again with a kick. 0.3 seconds go off the clock. Lewis calling out instructions to Walker specifically, it looks like. Pass goes into Bailey. Bailey is fouled.
Still got plenty more fouls to give. That's That's the
That's
third.
4th, right?
Yeah. Oh, 4th. Yeah.
Yeah, Perkins just picked up the 1. So they've got 1 more here. This one will be free throws. So Cap will really try for the steal here. Ball goes in. It's Walker, and Walker, wow, that was a soft foul called. Quick whistle, but we'll take it. So, honestly, not a bad sequence there for Capital. They only lost 5 seconds off the clock. And now it comes down to free throws. Walker at the line. She is 4 for 6 so far. Interesting that a bench player, not even one of the starting 5, who's closing out the game, gets these free throws. She makes the first. Sophomore being entrusted in a big moment with a bunch of seniors. This is a big one. It makes it a 3-possession game. It's good.
Just a lucky bounce there. And
timeout Capital. Each team, or Capital has 1 timeout left. Wilmington has 3.
So going back to what we were talking about.
So you mentioned, has Capital been figured out? I mean, maybe. There is some truth to that. This is the 2nd time through. You're seeing teams for another time. There's a lot of film. I think it starts with Capital people focusing on Capital. You mentioned we know where the points are coming from. So you put a lot of defensive effort on O'Connor, wear her out and just don't let Murphy shoot. And that's pretty much been the game plan. And that kind of allows Perkins to fill that role and get her own. But it's easier for her to kind of get her. She's kind of that bruising style of player that
Down low, physical.
you can't really stop that if you really wanted to. You could, but then you're going to allow the perimeter to open up. So you just kind of let Perkins do her thing and shut down the other two, and that's kind of been what they're doing.
That raises so many questions. If we know Perkins is the bruiser down low, I know she's fouled out, but
Twice now.
yeah, but imagine if she had fouled out earlier. Who else is gonna play that role down low to be that bruiser?
O'Connor can't get the finish there, and now a timeout called by Wilmington before the foul.
Who else on this? We already
Yeah, I
know
mean,
that she has a tight rotation. So
Weiland is kind of not the build for that. She's a very good defender and a stretch four role, and that's kind of a great spot for her at the 5. I don't know. And that kind of brings in, Thigpen's got to fill out to fill that role too. Kind of a similar build as Weiland. Does Maddie Dugood work back into the rotation? She played some tonight. It's the first time we've seen her in a little bit, on the home floor at least. And maybe that's the answer. She started the season in the lineup. I don't know, but I think it's interesting how this 3-game stretch works, because we changed from having everything kind of figured out for Capital, and now it seems like we're trying to find it again.
I mean, with this stretch that they have left here, it's not an easy battle here.
No,
So,
I mean, this is not a good time to place Ohio Northern. If you would have played Ohio Northern a week and a half ago, I would have thought we're ready. Like, this is our best shot at this game. And there's a lot of questions right now for this Capital unit and what they can do. They have to make some changes because it's not working, obviously. This is going to be 3 in a row now, and they've tightened the rotation up during that stretch. They got the win against Marietta. They got the win against Otterbein. It felt like this was moving in the right direction, and now you take 3 steps back. That's a good question. Do you double down with what you've been doing, or do you try to find it again in this stretch? At this point, you've got to get ready for the tournament. So, Capital's got enough wins in the bank here that they should qualify for the OAC tournament pretty easily.
So you're
Brewer
saying,
for 3.
So you're saying
Blocked.
you're gonna turn your attention from possibly getting the home
Yeah,
court?
I think you got to just get this right over the last 5 games. The way they've been playing, it's not going to happen. So,
I mean,
I'm not saying blow it up by
Yeah,
any stretch of the imagination, but I think maybe trying to find something again and find those role players to find their roles a little bit more, because tonight is a big statement for Wilmington. They come in here, they knock off Capital, a 9-point game that they led the entire way. And like you said, has Capital been figured out? I don't know. It's a great question, and it leads us into Saturday, because it's going to be a tough one Saturday against Ohio Northern. There's no doubt about that. They just got a grinded out physical win against Otterbein from the looks of the box score over there. If they bring that physicality into this game on Saturday, I don't know what Capital has to respond to that.
I mean, you take a look, and we talked about how the big 3, they're our main scorers, but Murphy's shots weren't falling tonight, and Perkins and O'Connor were the leading scorers for this team. But Brewer came off hot and finished with double-digit points in this matchup here, but you need help. And like I said, I'm not necessarily feeling that they've been figured out here. However, moving forward, either you got to play with your strong suits here. The team's already seen your cards. You played them twice already, so they know what you're going to deal out here. So either you're going to boost up and help run plays through Perkins and O'Connor and Murphy. Just keep them getting them going, because they're going to put up the most shots for the team here, or you figure out a way to get other players involved here. So
there was only 5 shots taken by bench players in this game from Capital. They made 2 of them. Maddie made both of them. But that's 5 shots taken by 4 players in a combined 37 minutes on the floor. So, I mean, is there something there? I don't know. But you contrast that with the Wilmington team that has a pretty deep starting lineup. And look who was the player of this game today. It was Walker off the bench, 16 points, 22 minutes. I mean, obviously Capital hasn't shown that they have that kind of player that's going to pop off like that off the bench. But we've seen Horsley get hers. We've seen Thigpen get hers. We've seen Maddie Dugood get hers. And it seems like there's not as much pitching in over this losing streak. It's a lot of just trying to rely on Bree, and she's obviously needs the help.
This is their second loss at home. We talk about how they have this home stretch here as they get ready to face Ohio Northern this weekend. And if I'm not mistaken, they lost that matchup 41-57 last time they played. And now you're still on this losing streak here. Home court is 10. They were undefeated at home at one point, 8-0 until they lost to Mount Union. So knowing that they tend to play better here, but we've been seeing them come out sluggish. They've been
Turn the ball over today. That first quarter.
Five in the first.
In the first 5 possessions.
And I mean, like, you're killing yourself here. So hopefully Capital can figure out how to turn things around here and get things going back in their right direction, because if that's what you're saying, start just getting ready for the tournament, they're already throwing in the towel. And that's
I don't think it's that so much. I think it's just you have 5 games to try to hit the reset button a little bit. Don't hit the nuke and don't blow it up. But there are some other players that have shown some spurts this season to get involved. They've also seen, we've seen Murphy play better basketball than she's been playing. We've seen O'Connor play better basketball. So how do you get those two going again?
Like
that's the question.
You got to play into your strong
in
suits.
terms of resetting, I think that's the reset I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about how do we get Murphy and O'Connor going?
Exactly.
Because those are the two that are going to get this offense going, and you need pieces around them. Because right now it almost seems like everybody's waiting for Bree to take a game over, and she ain't going to take over every single game, especially in this conference night after night. She'll take over some, no doubt about that, and we've seen her do it. But you can't expect her to come to the gym and take over the game every single time. Certainly won't be the case on Saturday, but we'll see. I mean, I think they've got to reassess and, again, not hit the reset, not blow it up, but figure out how to get those two going consistently, how to take care of the basketball and get those two going consistently, and it's going to take a group effort that we haven't seen. And some of that might be strategy-wise. Some of that might just be the players not playing well. But there's got to be some kind of combination of those two things married together that push this team to that next level that we've seen them play at. Again, 3 games ago, we were 3rd place in the conference. We had just beaten Otterbein and Marietta pretty convincingly as well, especially the Marietta game. That game was over, besides the last 3 minutes, which they tried to give it back. But they led that whole game. It looked like tonight's effort for Wilmington, we were in control of that entire game. They beat the rival, and it's just like off the cliff since then. And some of that might be because everything was building up to Otterbein. Let's win that game. We won that game. Uh-oh, we forgot there's still the rest of the season here. That kind of seems like what's happened.
I mean, Coach McPherson, she's got her hands filled, first year under this team, and now you're sitting at 12-8 right now.
First off, last year with how poor they played, to be at this point even,
it's a good
huge win. But that expectation level after, I think 3 weeks ago, I think that made a statement that, hey, maybe we can compete in this thing. Maybe we have a good shot to make a run here. And then three bad losses in a row. And now you've got to do some soul searching. Saturday's going to be a tough game. Certainly not expecting them to come out and win. But, boy, do we need to come out and make a statement that we're back. Like, we're ready to play and give Ohio Northern a game here on our home floor. I think that's going to really set the pace for the rest of the season. And it's tough sledding. They have 5 games, but there's 3 against the top 3 teams in there. So they need to figure out a way to get creative here.
These next 5 games, what is the prediction at Capital? What's the record that they need to have out of here?
I mean, in theory, 2-3 is on the table. They have Heidelberg and Mount Union that they lost to Mount Union, of course. But they got 4 of them at home or 3 of them at home. I think 3 of them are at home.
3 at home.
At Marietta, at Mount Union. So, I mean, 2-3 is certainly the minimum. That puts you at an 8-10 record. You're easily qualifying at that point. But I think at this point you want to get away from a first-round matchup with Baldwin Wallace and Ohio Northern. So that would be a top 6 seed. They've shown they can beat Otterbein and Marietta. Not great. We were talking about a home court a week and a half ago. But I think they'll be okay. And you've got to use these next 5 games to make sure you're playing your best basketball. That last game, that senior night game here against Baldwin Wallace, that's got to be the best game we've seen out of Capital this year. and really put that momentum into that tournament.
Hope so. And
Tough loss, man. It's not as fun when we're losing the games up here, that's for sure. But, I hate to harp on it. I'm not trying to be too negative or anything, but
I mean, I wouldn't say negative, just realist.
yeah, we want to see what this team can do, and it's been exciting. We've seen them at times. They only lost by 5 to Baldwin Wallace in their building. That was just a couple weeks ago as well. So Saturday's gonna be really interesting, Jonathan. I think we're gonna see either a team really come out real strong, ready to freaking play that game, or we're gonna have a big struggle on Saturday, and the soul searching will continue. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens on Saturday.
We'll find out. Well, we know where we'll be. We'll be up here.
2 o'clock start here, so afternoon game, and that's always a little bit fun. And we'll see. We'll see what the Polar Bears have. They had a tough matchup against Otterbein tonight. They did come away with the win, but it's going to be a physical game. We hope you can make it out to the building. Love to have your support here. Good crowd tonight as well. And we'll see if Capital comes out a little bit stronger there, gets that crowd a little bit more involved, and make it a rowdy Saturday afternoon here at the Capitol Center. Any last thoughts, Jonathan?
No, I think we kind of cleared the air here, so we'll
Sure.
be back here this weekend.
Sounds good. Can't wait. It's going to be a good one Saturday night, and we hope you join us either via the broadcast or via the stadium here as well. Just come down to the arena. Broadcast should start at 1:50 Eastern Time, and tip off around 2 o'clock here. Jonathan and I will be here and ready to pull off the upset and flip this thing right back around to the good side. We'll see if the Comets can do it. Final score again tonight, 59-50. Behind the effort of Wilmington's Walker with 16 points off the bench. He's the game-high leading scorer. More stats and everything on the website at athletics.capital.edu. We'll catch you next time from the Capitol Center. See you on Saturday for Ohio Northern.